I like Nintendo games. I don't like Nintendo as a company. I've said this for 6 years now. Nintendo constantly makes decisions that are actively just hurting the biggest fans of their property. It seems like they're just hell-bent on ruining people's passion for their properties. They're just on this warpath against fun itself. It's like when SpongeBob had to teach Plankton what fun is, that's what the community constantly does for Nintendo, only for them to just shout, bah humbug, and then send you a cease and desist, or just outright slap you down. Or if you're a YouTuber, issue you a strike. Oftentimes, Nintendo is just evil for the sake of it. Like, I'm talking mustache-twirlingly sinister. Like, the Nintendo Corporation is a villain that Mario would have seeked to slay in one of his games. Like, I remember a case like 4 years ago where Nintendo banned a handful of streamers for playing Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity early. Except they weren't playing it early. Nintendo just forgot that time zones exist, so they banned streamers who were playing the official release of Hyrule Warriors because they forgot. That's how out of touch and archaic Nintendo is and how willing they are to just bend someone over and spank their cheeks raw, even when there's no real reason to do so. This is something Nintendo has done for years now with like Smash Brothers, which I've talked about endlessly, but they get up extra early in the morning just to hate. Like, they try and just ruin fun. Nintendo would send assassins to Santa Claus's workshop if they found out that one of the elves made an unlicensed Yoshi plushie. I know I'm getting a little lost in the sauce here, but I just get very passionate when I talk about how menacing Nintendo is for no reason. So the reason why I'm talking about them today is because they've just dealt a massive blow to emulation. Nintendo deserves more shit than a porta potty for this, and I really hope they get huge backlash for it, because I think this is just completely unacceptable. It started 2 days ago with a channel called Retro Game Corps announcing that they had received strikes for content that had a Nintendo game running on an emulator. The channel owner explains that they are considering a counterclaim under fair use as it was educational and transformative and had no effect on the market. It was a demonstration of a console no longer for sale. Even the Wii U eShop is closed, so the company itself has no means of earning revenue from Wii U sales. So this is one of the core components and what makes emulation so important. There are games that aren't being sold anymore and cannot be accessed outside of emulating them. It's fucking ridiculous. It is an incredibly important tool for preservation. But the only thing Nintendo's interested in preserving is that chip on their shoulder they have against any kind of internet content that shows their games. So they once again overstep and issue strikes for this, which is something Nintendo has done since the dawn of YouTube itself. There was a time period where you couldn't actually have a YouTube video that had a Nintendo game in it because Nintendo would have your account banned. They fucking hate it for some reason. They try and protect their copyright with an iron fist. And I know there's always people that have Nintendo's cock in their mouth trying to make arguments on their behalf, doing free PR for them, fighting their battles, saying things like, oh yeah, but people will download games that they don't have on emulators and that hurts Nintendo. Load of baloney. That's dirty barnacles, especially in cases like this. There is no one getting hurt by emulating games that are not accessible through official means. There is tons of games like that. Emulation is extraordinarily important, and Nintendo does everything it can to ruin it. And in doing so, they even try and ruin other people's lives in the process. That channel now has 2 strikes on their YouTube account, meaning that they're 1 strike away from having their account terminated, meaning a source of revenue, part of their livelihood, is on the cusp of being taken away at the hands of Nintendo. And no amount of groveling at Nintendo's feet ever appeases them. The only thing that appeases them is complete fucking destruction of fun and destruction of emulators. So the big thing that happened today is they just shut down Ryujinx. Ryujinx is one of the last main remaining Switch emulators, and it just got wiped out today. Like the dinosaurs with the fucking meteor, Nintendo came in and they put the kibosh on it. According to an official statement on Ryujinx Discord server, developer GDK Chan was contacted by Nintendo, offered an agreement to stop working on the project, and the agreement wasn't confirmed, but the organization has been entirely removed. So here is the Discord announcement about it, talking about how it's going to cease operations. And like I mentioned, this is one of the last remaining Switch emulators. This isn't the first time Nintendo's done this. They took down Yuzu not that long ago, which was the big boy on the block. That was the sheriff in town. Yuzu was the go-to Switch emulator until Nintendo put it in the crosshairs and they took it out behind the barn. Nintendo's motto is, "You'll have fun with our games the way we want you to. Any other way that you enjoy our products is not acceptable, it's not permissible, it's illegal, you're going to jail, Buster." Nintendo has a set way that they believe things should be done with their property. And we see it in Smash Brothers, where they don't believe it should be a competitive game, so they've never shown support for Smash Brothers and have even actively gone out of their ways to shut down tournaments over the years. And that's just a community of people that love their games, trying to put on events for their games, and Nintendo sometimes comes out there and says, nope, shut it down, pussy. Like, they go out of their way to ruin fun. They've been a little better about not destroying Smash tournaments recently, but historically, you've always just had a coin flip on whether or not Nintendo's going to show up and just say, that's enough, take this down. And it's that way for so many things. It's just so unnecessary, and it's always so heavy-handed. They always choose, like, scorched earth, like the most aggressive path they can take. Strikes on your channel, banning your stream for 48 hours, like shutting down your Twitch channel for 48 hours, which is fundamentally, like, to put that in perspective, Nintendo having that power is basically Nintendo showing up to your job and firing you for 48 hours. Like, that's how extreme it is. It's so stupid. It's silly. Well, it would be silly if it wasn't so destructive. And it's not like they're doing anything good. Like, they're not releasing an emulator of their own. Like, they take down these emulators, and then what? Then the games are just inaccessible. Some games you will never be able to play again now. There are some games that now just fade into memory. A myth, a legend, even, that can never be played again because Nintendo is destroying emulators. It's like, if they had a competing product, I'd understand. That'd be understandable. It'd make a little more sense, like, oh, okay, Nintendo views this as competition. They're kind of stepping on their toes. Like, they have an official emulator, and now there's a bunch of unofficial ones out there, so I guess I'd understand why they'd be reaching their tendrils out there to try and stop that. But they don't. They don't have an emulator. They don't have ways of playing games from the old Wii U shop or anything. They don't have ways of playing some of these games. The only option are these emulators, which now are no longer an option because Nintendo is burying them. They are such a litigious company, yet so lethargic when it comes to, like, delivering things that make sense. Their Nintendo Online service is still a fucking joke. That is still a dial-up service that you're paying for, basically. Every Nintendo Online game I've ever played, especially Smash Brothers Ultimate Online, is fucking sickening. Like, their games, like, they're fun. They're very fun games, but their hardware is outdated. Their hardware is archaic. A fucking calculator on your iPhone is probably more powerful than the entire Switch console. Like, Nintendo is so behind on the times, but they have such good first-party games from, like, some very creative people internally that make bangers, but it's all wrapped up in this company that is out of touch and downright greedy and evil. There is no reason Nintendo should be shutting down emulators. They are doing your work for you. They are creating more fans of Nintendo property than Nintendo is. What Nintendo should do is release an emulator of their own. What they should do is offer better services as opposed to shut down the better services. Like, they're shutting these emulators down without having anything of their own that is an improvement. They don't have anything. It's just dumb. I hate it. I actually hate it. So yeah, I wanted to rant about this a little bit. It's a classic, probably like 2 or 3 times a year, Nintendo rant where I just have to spit on that company. It sucks. I really am so upset with them because they make such good games. It would just be such a slam dunk, an easy layup for Nintendo to just finally turn a new leaf and start getting into the 21st century. Like, finally doing things that aren't just needlessly evil, that aren't just cease and desisting everyone and everything and shutting projects down, taking down fan projects. Like, it's just so unnecessary. So, yeah, RIP to Ryu Jinx. Hopefully that YouTuber doesn't lose his account to Nintendo. And big fuck you to Nintendo. That's about it. See ya. That's what people sound like when they do their best to defend Nintendo from my mean words. They deserve it. Nintendo is greedy, and I'm tired of it. So I keep making fun of them. And there's so many people that defend Nintendo, even in spite of them reaching into their piggy bank and shaking it for everything that could fall out. Heavens to Betsy, Nintendo even has the gall to charge money for their tech demo welcome tour for the Nintendo Switch. This is a game with the Switch 2 that's supposed to teach you how to use the console. It is a tour of it, and they didn't even have the common courtesy to let it be free like other games of that kind, like Astrobot back on the PS4. It doesn't get more pathetic than that. How do you even defend that? How do you even begin to rationalize why they would charge money for their tutorial of the Switch 2? It's craziness. That is an actual Mr. Krabs maneuver. Like that episode where he was charging customers for air inside of the restaurant. Like, Nintendo is so beyond greedy, and I believe it is just truly indefensible, no matter how hard people jump through mental gymnastics to, wave it away as not a big deal, and like they're totally right for increasing the price of their games and all this and that. I don't know. I don't understand the desperation to suck the Nintendo wiener this hard and defend them like this, fight their PR battles for free. It is very valid criticism to make fun of them for their pricing, because it's just ludicrous. And keep in mind, Nintendo never drops the price of their games, ever. Games that are like 10 years old are still being sold for full fucking price by Nintendo. So these games that are coming out that are going to be $80 occasionally for the Switch 2, they're going to remain $80 till the day you die. Occasionally they do like a deal where they drop the price temporarily on some of their titles, but that comes once in a blue moon. You are more likely to see Halley's Comet again than you are to see a Nintendo price drop on one of their properties for any meaningful length of time. And they charge out the wazoo for every single fucking thing that they can possibly even imagine. Like game chat in their games is a paid service, which means since it's a paid service, your C buttons are going to be locked behind a paywall. If you don't pay for it, those buttons on your controller aren't even going to work. It's ridiculous. Their game chat is also just reskin Discord, but with technology that's ancient compared to modern Discord. So I'm just going to show you clips from today's Yap session on Nintendo where we're going over Doug Bowser's most recent interview, and they showed more from game chat. It looks so laggy and so old, it is insulting they would even consider charging for it. And in this interview, Doug Bowser gives no good reasons why they increased the price of the games. The reason he gives, I think, is trash. Did you watch the Bowser interview over their $80 games? I didn't watch the interview, I just saw the statement. I'll watch the interview real quick. I'm assuming it's not a long interview. It's 17 minutes. Wait, this man actually like opened up his whole heart here. I thought it was just going to be another classic Doug Bowser where they bring him out of cryosleep for like a 3-minute appearance and then he goes right back into battery saving mode. Like, this guy is only ever seen like maybe 2 or 3 times a year. That's it. Outside of that, he ceases to exist. He just goes to the back rooms.
I guess the question now is, with the Switch 2, how do you avoid that trap again? What makes the Switch 2 a worthwhile upgrade so you don't kind of fall into that Wii U moment again?
Yeah, I think...
He just said the forbidden word. He mentioned Wii U. CNBC bringing up Wii U directly to Nintendo? Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Doug Bowser's even surprised. Like, what did you say? Nah, these are clearly pre-screened questions, but I'm surprised they're willing to even mention what kind of failure Wii U was. I was one of the victims of that. I got scammed by it.
Is happening behind us right now. It really,
I did buy a Wii U. Yeah.
That next generation, but then added very powerful.
What did you see in it? In the Wii U?
Features. So it's that understanding.
Okay, jeez, I can't believe I always have to defend myself about the Wii U. The reason I bought it is because I missed out on the Wii. I never owned a Wii. I only ever played it at friends' houses, and I felt so weird about that. So when the Wii U rolled around, I was like, not this time. I'm going to get it. So I got it. Turns out I was weird now because I was the only one with a Wii U. But without the Wii U, I would have never created Big Moist, because the name Big Moist came from the Wii U. I bought it. I then brought it to my dorm, and we used it as a communal Wii U for Mario Kart. And I made the name Big Moist on it. So, while the console was a scam, 100% that shit was ass, got some good memories from it.
And then there's the CPU and GPU processing power that allows for much deeper game development, and I think an ability to bring even more developers onto the platform. And then laid on top of that is the social features that we haven't talked about.
Don't you dare.
Game chat.
Don't you dare.
That lays on top of any game that you play. With the push of one button, seamlessly you can connect with your friends. You can chat with them via audio.
Doug, you've made Discord. Doug, don't you dare try and use that as some kind of justification for crazy price increases. Well, you see, we invented this thing called chat. Now listen, bear with me. I know it sounds like a ludicrous idea, but what if when you played games, you could talk to your friends while doing it? Hey, people criticized Isaac Newton with gravity. Trust me here. Just stick with me. Stick with me. It's ridiculous. I'm glad it's finally coming. Like, it's cool, I guess, but the way they hype this up is ridiculous to me. You have literally just copied Discord's homework 5 or 6 years ago. Oh yeah, and you have to pay for it. That's right, and you have to pay for it. Forgot about that. It's not even like a free thing.
Audio, or with 4 of them, you can have them on a video camera and have this opportunity to interact and talk about the games you're playing.
Now we're sitting here.
I also love in their own demonstration how choppy this looks. You are just better off using Discord with your friends. It's free. It's better quality. You are just better off if you're playing Switch with your boys. Hop on Discord. You are so much better off.
Now we're sitting here on April 2nd. It just so happens as we're
not even Discord,
the
actual
President of the
2010
United
Connect
States right now is
technology.
announcing his tariffs.
I won't go that far, but
You
it
and
is
so
it
many
is
other executives
dated.
are pulling their hair out,
We didn't consider tariffs into that equation. We felt that with it, that was going to be the right price point for our consumers and the right value proposition, if you will, for the device that we're creating. A lot of news today. We're still all trying to really understand it better and understand what possible impacts, may rise from that. But nothing I can really add to, today's discussion around pricing.
I will say, while the initial price point pre-tariff analysis here is higher than most people expected, myself included, I could almost understand that. Like, I could almost be like, you know what? It is an upgrade. It is finally modern. Okay, that I can stomach. I'm very curious, and I already know from the headlines where he goes with this, how they could possibly justify not only the increased price of the hardware, but the individual game price increase as well.
add-on. But if you buy the game itself, this got a lot of attention. I don't know if you've seen $80. That's a lot for a game. I know it's typically not what Nintendo charges. And then we look at the Donkey Kong game that's coming out about a month later. It's $70. Can you talk a little bit about how the gaming pricing strategy is $80 kind of the benchmark for a AAA game from Nintendo? What should we be expecting?
The camera's $50. Hell nah. What do you mean you don't want this piece of tech from the late 2010s? Well, how are you going to talk to your friends on Nintendo Switch 2 Discord without the Nintendo Switch 2 camera, bud? All right, tough guy. What do you know about high-quality 480p cameras?
So we believe, based on the depth and breadth of the play and the repeatability of the play over time, the pricing that we announced is the right pricing. But again, other games like mentioned Donkey Kong Bonanza, it's going to be at a $70 price point because that is what we feel is the right price point for that particular gaming experience.
I love that. Well, Donkey Kong Bonanza, that's a worse game. So we're charging less money for it. That game, it's nothing compared to Mario Kart World. That game actually really sucks. So we're giving you a great deal there. Mario Kart World, though, think of all the hours of gameplay you get. So many hours. So we had to increase the price. We did so much work, we needed to increase the price. And when the next Zelda game comes out, I'm going to be honest with you, we might go up to $120 on it. We put a lot of tender love and care into it. It's an incredible game, and we think that's a good price for it. It's so fucking stupid. Basically, they're saying, these are great games. You're going to get a lot out of the games, so we're charging you more for the games because we know you're going to buy it because you already like the properties. I had already read the headline. I knew that's what he said about it, more or less. I just think that's a really dog shit argument because it doesn't apply. Schedule 1. I've gotten so many hours out of Schedule 1, more so than most Nintendo games in recent memory, paid a fraction of the price for Schedule 1. Does that mean Tyler should start charging $80 for Schedule 1 to match Mario Kart World? Fuck no. He'd get eaten alive, even though it offers the same amount of fun and the same amount of hours. It's dumb. It's a stupid statement. Like, yes, they'll get away with it because they're Nintendo. I don't think this holds any water. The main reason is they know they can charge this price. People will buy it. There's not going to be any kind of, like, boycott. Nintendo Switch 2 will still sell. All the games will still sell. So they can do it. So why not squeeze some more money out of the consumer? That's the core. That is, at its core, why they're doing it. I think they're pricing it based on whether or not it'll be continuously updated. But that's the thing. Every game is continuously updated in the modern day and age. I can't think of a game that just comes out and never gets touched again. Even games that flop still get some updates over their lifespan, even if it is a short lifespan. You can't base a game on that either. I still think that's a stupid reason too. Like fucking Babylon's Fall. That only ever opened to like 12 players and me and Denkin got updates. Concord got updates. Like every game that comes out gets updates. Do you think it would be a fair price if they announce every DLC and add-on will be free? If they did that, yes. That would make a lot more sense. They will never do that, but in your like fairy tale Candyland hypothetical, if they said we're increasing the base price of these games and you will get our feature updates later down the line, like our DLC packages, you will get that included, yeah, that makes sense. That then I'd be like, okay, I see what you're trying to get at. You're basically selling the game plus the full lifespan season pass. Okay. That would make sense to me. You'd basically be selling like the Game of the Year version. They're never doing that, but if they did, I wouldn't be upset. Oh, I see what you're saying, Archive. Like, Mario Kart is a multiplayer game, so it'll get more stuff. Donkey Kong is a single-player experience, hence why it's cheaper. Not saying it's right, just figuring out their logic. I see what you're saying. Okay. Maybe that's how they base their pricing, then.
You have to have a Nintendo account. You're going to look at how many hours I play before you determine if I'm worthy of buying a Switch 2. Are people going to be able to go out and buy it?
That is cute.
One?
Innovation there with the number of hours played was really to reward our most loyal players and to give them a chance to queue up first and have an opportunity to purchase the product. Tomorrow we're going to be meeting with our retail partners, and our retail partners will have their own pre-order programs. So our goal,
and I promise you it won't be that.
The demand that's going to be out there for Nintendo Switch 2.
Yeah, they did announce this. I did know about it. In order to pre-order the Switch, at least through them, you have to verify that you're a Nintendo fan, fundamentally. Like, you have to verify that you engage with Nintendo products. You have a certain amount of hours. It's basically a fucking background check, like you're buying a gun. Like, it's like they do like a check to make sure that you are qualified for a pre-order. It's so good. I actually don't even hate that, because anything that takes a stab at scalpers, I'll at least give it a try. I'll at least say, cool, why not give it a whirl? So I don't dislike that. Obviously, the other retailers outside of Nintendo will not be doing that. No chance. There are still going to be scalpers. It's not going to beat scalpers, but anything that at least takes a shot at it, go for it.
So first of all, with Game Chat, when you choose Game Chat, you're only choosing from a list of your friends. So you're not going online to a wide open...
See, if this was my product, the last thing I would want people to see is this.
You're not going online.
That looks like right out of Skype from back in the day. Oof.
A wide open...
No strangers.
That's right. It is your friends, and it's your friend list, and those people that you've invited into your...
You see the quote where Doug pulled a Don Matrick? Who's Don Matrick? And what quote? Are you talking about the one where he said, if you can't afford the Switch 2, get the Switch 1, or that's why the Switch 1 is here? He was the Xbox guy during the Xbox One reveal. Oh, did they say that for the Xbox One? If you can't afford the Xbox One, get the 360? History was not kind to that console. That thing was a super flop. Up there with the Wii U, really. But yeah, here. If you can't afford the $449 Switch, don't expect much help from Nintendo. The company executive is suggesting budget-conscious gamers simply settle for the first-gen Switch. Doug Bowser said the company recognizes there are some people that may not be able to afford the Switch 2's price point. That's why we wanted to make the other Switch platforms available so people still have an opportunity to come into our gaming universe, be a part of these characters in these worlds, and see value, if you will, in whatever rung of the platform they come in. Yeah, so, can't afford it, stay broke, get a Switch, basically, is what it boils down to. I think they are still developing every game for Switch and Switch 2, so I don't think anything is Switch 2 exclusive. So I don't think you'll miss out on any games by not having the Switch 2. Never mind, I'm immediately proven wrong in the following paragraph. Wow. A growing crop of Switch 2 games such as Mario Kart World, Donkey Kong Bonanza, and Donkey Kong Bonanza won't be offered on the Switch 1. I'm wrong. That was quick. It was in the following paragraph. You didn't know that. No, I was under the impression this was going to be like when the PlayStation 3 launched and they still like co-developed games for PS3 and PS2. But even with the PS3, they did have like a couple of PS3 exclusives like Resistance, Fall of Man. Oh yeah, and here's the mention of Xbox One. Comparing it to Don Matrick, who tried to justify the Xbox One internet requirement, saying, "Fortunately, we have a product for people who aren't able to get some form of connectivity. It's called Xbox 360. Great quote, Don. Crushed it. Don Matrick got fired 1 month after the Xbox One reveal. How? Why? What did he do wrong? I'm sure he's probably the CEO of a Fortune 500 company now, because you can only fail upwards in this industry. Why do you hate Xbox? They've been doing so many good things recently. What? I don't even really hate them. They just have nothing on there. And Phil Spencer constantly reminds people of that. He's like, yeah, we lost the console war. Yeah, we still don't have games. But I've always said I think Game Pass is a great deal. And I really appreciate that Xbox games aren't actually exclusive because you can play all of them on PC. I don't even necessarily hate Xbox. I just don't see any reason why you would ever buy that. Unless you just already have one or your friends are on it. If hating Nintendo was a sport, I'd be the Michael Jordan of it. For years, I have thrown innumerable tomatoes at this company for a variety of reasons, and today, I feel so vindicated after all the Nintendo Switch 2 announcements. Now, first things first, the games they showed look incredible. I was actually salivating and ready to make a whole video glazing Nintendo for how hype the announcements were. The new FromSoft game, the Duskbloods, that came out of nowhere, and we finally got a couple of tiddlywinks, almost fucking, subliminal messaging of Silksong. It was only 6 seconds worth of footage, but Silksong got a release date this year. Those are two things I said would never happen. A FromSoft reveal and Silksong information. I said would never happen at a Nintendo Direct or anything. And then bang! Right in my fucking bussy, Nintendo comes in and smokes my whole wiener with this. As is tradition, anytime I make predictions about games, or really anything, any of my predictions, I'm 0 for 2000. I actually feel like when I make a prediction, I am jinxing it and manifesting the opposite into reality. So actually, I think a lot of people should thank me for these predictions, because I feel like if I never said anything, we would not see anything from Silksong, nor would there even be a new FromSoft title. I'm just saying. But amazing announcements. Even aside from those, there were just so many cool things that they showed at the Nintendo Direct. And then immediately after it ends, while they're still riding this high, they have all this hype, they hit everyone with the cold water. They give so much bad news about the Switch 2, from the pricing to the way physical copies are treated, and all of it completely ruined everyone's excitement. It was a masterclass in how to take the wind out of your own sails. It was just deflating. You got more bad news following the Nintendo Direct than all of your party members down the Oregon Trail, suffering from all of those diseases and ailments every time you take 2 steps. Nintendo did an immaculate job of completely wiping their ass with all the goodwill they built up from that fucking Direct. So I want to start with the most infuriating. Some Nintendo Switch 2 games will be more expensive. Now I know what you're thinking. Well, this probably means they're just going to be $70. All of them across the board are going to be $70, which is more expensive. You're wrong. They're actually, in some cases, going to be $80. And not only are the digital downloads of these games going up to $80 in some cases, from what I'm reading, some of the physical copies of these games will be going to $90. Now what this means is Nintendo's off their fucking gourd. I can't even make this kind of markup in Schedule 1 with my drugs because no one would buy them. Going up to $20 over the normal market value, that's unheard of, but it's Nintendo. They can strong-arm their way and get away with it. And what this means is $80 games, and I guess in some cases $90 physical copies, that's going to become the industry standard. All of the other big players in the industry are going to follow suit. Nintendo has just busted the lid off of $80 as a normal amount to charge for a digital copy of games. That sucks so much shit through a crazy straw, I couldn't even begin to describe how on brand that is for Nintendo. Some people are surprised. I was surprised Nintendo didn't do something like this sooner. I have said for so long how out of touch this company is and how anti-consumer Nintendo as a company is. They make great games, bangers, games that are very special to me. You'll find a lot of them on my shelf. But the company itself is the antithesis of fun and friendly. They are brutal and greedy, and they knew they could get away with this kind of pricing. They knew it, and they will get away with it, unfortunately. And now people are finally starting to see, like, oh no, this company, like, they don't fucking like us. Like, they do not really like the consumer. And I feel so vindicated. Like, I feel like, you know, our ancestors way back in the day when that one person spoke up and said, what if instead of eating it raw, we cook our meat? And then he got, like, pummeled by rocks from the rest of the group. Well, that was me. And now instead of throwing rocks, people are finally being like, no, wait, maybe this meat is getting cooked here. Nintendo is a meat cooker of ass. I got lost in the analogy I was trying to make. Point is, I've said for so long how mean of a company Nintendo is, and how they do not respect you. This company wouldn't piss in your mouth if you were dying of thirst unless you paid them $60 up front for the convenience fee. So this is the perfect demonstration that Nintendo will just do anything for a couple extra doubloons. So they are now at the $80 price tag for some of their games, which will no doubt have a pretty big effect on the rest of the gaming sector as a whole. And that is bleak. You hate to see that. I have been one of those Scrooges bah-humbugging that ridiculous rumor that GTA 6 is going to cost $100. I have been fighting on the front lines of that ridiculous claim for a year. After seeing Nintendo drop this shit here, I'm starting to think Rockstar might just try it too. Because it really, you can basically charge whatever you want. Nintendo is now setting the precedent, and I think Rockstar will follow. Maybe GTA 6 truly will cost $100. Now, I made a brief mention at the beginning of the video about how they're treating physical releases, and this is what I was referring to. It's about their game key card. So apparently, the game key cards are like basically giving you access to download the game via the internet. So what you actually buy, the physical copy, it's not like the game you're just getting Nintendo's stamp of approval to download the game itself. Which ties into the old Ubisoft quote of you'll own nothing and you'll like it. That's not exactly what they said, but they basically said, I think verbatim was, gamers need to get comfortable not owning their games, or not owning anything, something to that effect. And Nintendo seems to be following suit with that philosophy. You're not actually owning anything if you're buying a physical copy of a game. You're still just getting a permission slip, literally like a library card. Not even a library card, actually. You're getting like a hall pass where you get to put your physical copy into the Switch 2 in order to download the game itself from Nintendo. You don't own shit. You own absolutely nothing. You own the idea of being able to have this game on your console. It's amazing, which has become the norm. Now, I have always, not always, but for like the last like 8 or 9 years, I've been like a big digital downloader. I haven't really bought physical copies in a while. But over the last year, you've heard me talk about it quite a bit. I've become a huge advocate for physical copies of things because, as we've seen time and time again, you don't own it, so you can lose access to it forever because it's not really yours. And I think that sucks. What you buy, you should have. You should have the right to it. Like, you own it. If you want to play it, you should be able to do that. Even if you don't have internet access, or even if you lose your account that housed it, as long as you have the physical copy, you should still be able to pop that bitch in and play it. So I've become a huge advocate for physical copies, especially now that so many things are just getting outright removed and deleted, and they're just gone forever because there's no physical copies. I think it's more important than ever, and now Nintendo's taken a step to ensure that physical copies are even more meaningless. It's very sad. And since you're not even getting the game itself through these physical copies, it makes this $90 price tag even more baffling, even more of a head scratcher, because what you're getting is fundamentally an empty box with a code on it. You get a tiny little doohickey, you get a thingamajig you put in your Switch 2 that is not the full game. It does not have the full game data. They make that very clear. It does not contain full game data. And you get that key to then download the game from the internet. So why are you paying even more money for that while still getting the same service? The only thing that changes is you get a fucking box with it. It's craziness. It's actual craziness what Nintendo tries to get away with. And what they inevitably will get away with. It's such a shame, too, because the Switch 2 does seem to be a significant upgrade over the Switch 1, which of course isn't saying much because the Nintendo Switch is basically like a fucking glorified 2011 smartphone. That shit is wimpy. And the Switch 2 is finally a modern console. Finally, some real power. and they showed so many good games for it coming out. It's extremely exciting, that catalog. But now, I can't be excited for it because I hate the precedent they're setting with this pricing. I hate the precedent they're setting with the physical copies. Which you can't even call them physical copies. They're not physical copies. You're getting a box with a code on it, basically. It's just trash. Nintendo is insatiable in their appetite for more money. A gluttonous corporation, which should be a surprise to no one, but it really is just egregious here with what they're doing for the Switch 2 and its pricing for some of the games. So yeah, it's not super fun, Nintendo. Don't like that very much. That's about it. So yeah. 3 days ago, I made a video talking about Nintendo being an evil, soulless corporation, as well as out-of-touch, archaic, and just downright goofy for the way that they treat online content creators like criminals. Most recently, they issued 2 strikes to a YouTuber named Penguinz0 because he made videos on Breath of the Wild that featured modded content. And in the eyes of Nintendo, that is a sin more unforgivable than murder. So they threw the book at him. They were coming with the meat. They tried to give him the business. They issued 2 strikes, and it wasn't just modded content they targeted, by the way. They also just targeted other videos as well on other games. A lot of it did feature mods, but some of them were just vanilla gameplay videos that they absolutely had a conniption over. Nintendo for a long time has historically shown that they hate their fans and absolutely despise when people play their games or enjoy their games in ways that they didn't plan for or in ways that they don't approve of. So for Penguinz0 showing mods and having fun making content around mods, they, started screaming bah humbug and shaking their fist at the clouds and then hired their legal team of assassins to do as much damage to him as possible. And if it was up to Nintendo, they probably would have publicly hung Penguinz0 to make an example out of him for daring to play their games in a way they didn't intend for people to play them. Would have had him face the fucking firing squad. The reason I'm even mentioning all of this before talking about today's story is because it's only been 3 days and Nintendo has already upped the ante on how evil they can be and how unbelievably cruel they are. Like I made a claim in that video that they don't listen to the community, they don't care about, negative reputation that they have or community backlash. They don't listen to it, they just kind of brush it off like it's just little squeaking dog toys that they can just ignore. They don't care what the people are saying. They're not listening. But now, I'm almost convinced they must have heard what the community was saying about how evil they were and said, oh, you think that's bad? Well, watch this. And then they went even harder into degeneracy. So, what they've done, or what was revealed to the public today, is that they have completely ruined a man's life. And I'm not exaggerating. They are putting a man in debt to them for the rest of his life. There's a guy named Gary Bowser, and I'm not making this up. This isn't an alias. His name is fucking Gary Bowser. This sounds like fanfic. This sounds like the plot to the new Mario Bros. Movie. Like, it actually sounds made up, but it's real. Gary Bowser was working with a company called Team Executor. They were a hacking group that would hack consoles for profit, and one of their biggest products was for Switch. They would basically jailbreak the Switch and they'd sell it and make money off it, and Gary Bowser was one of the prominent members of this team, allegedly. And a couple of years ago, he got caught, and he served 40 months in jail. His time in jail is coming to a conclusion now, and he's about to be released, but he's not off the hook yet. In fact, he's on to an even deeper hook. One that is going to be a life of servitude to Nintendo, because they are coming after him for an additional $10 million plus that he will have to pay back over the course of the rest of his life. He is going to have to forfeit 25 to 30% of his income every single month to Nintendo until he can pay off his $10 million plus debt to them, because he was part of that hacking group. That is a legitimate life-ruining obligation that he will have to fulfill. Now, I want to make it clear, Gary Bowser is not a hero. He is not a saint. He was part of a group that was knowingly breaking the law for profit. He wasn't doing anything, just. He wasn't some, holy figure, breaking the rules for the benefit of everyone. They were very much in it just to make money off of all of this. He knew it was wrong, and what he's done is illegal. But I would argue spending 40 months in jail is punishment that fits the crime. I don't think they needed to add on an additional fucking generational debt that he and his grandkids wouldn't even be able to pay. Now, of course, his family's not going to be obligated to pick up the tab on the $10 million plus that he owes when he dies, but you get the point. The amount of money that Nintendo is forcing him to pay back over the course of his lifetime is one that could never be fulfilled by him and his kids working and his grandkids working and maybe even his great-grandkids working. It is an absurd punishment. Once again, I understand what he did was wrong and he's not a good guy, but this is just beyond excessive. Nintendo is a multi-billion-dollar corporation that's now face-fucking one random average guy in particular, forcing him to pay back a debt that he will never be able to repay. That $10 or $14 million means absolutely nothing to Nintendo. They wipe their ass with that amount of cash. Meanwhile, that means that Gary Bowser will never be able to live a normal life. He's going to be constantly paying this back forever. He's going to die with negative $10 million to his name. Like, he won't even be able to afford a coffin to be buried in. Like, it's just so far into the realm of lunacy here. And I actually imagine Nintendo celebrating this victory with handshakes all around and then laughing at the misery of Gary Bowser, who now has to send 25 to 30% of his income to this company every single month, where once again, I imagine once they receive those checks, they throw it right in the trash can and forget about it, because that amount of money is completely meaningless to them. Anyway, the situation is wild, but this is kind of the story, like the general overview of it. I went over it more on stream, so I'll just play some clips of that. You honestly couldn't have scripted a better story, but it's real. And he had been sentenced to jail. Nintendo actually pursued action against him. He had made, I think, like $300K from all of his, like, hacking. And he spent 40 months in jail and he just got released. And now he's going to have to pay 25 to 30% of his income every single month to Nintendo for the rest of his life. And he will still not be able to ever pay that off. So long, Gary Bowser. Pretty sure chat made that joke when we talked about him 2 years ago, too. Which is still a fire joke, by the way. So he's paid $175 of his $10 million plus debt. So he's chipping away at it. He's making progress, ever so slightly. They wanted to send a message to other Switch hackers. It was a very significant moment for us. It's the purchase of video games that sustain Nintendo and the Nintendo ecosystem, and it is the games that make the people smile. It's for that reason that we do all we can to prevent games on Nintendo systems from being stolen. Heroes. You guys are such fucking noble saints. Thank you, Nintendo. Ensure that this man will never live his life without the fear of Nintendo down his neck. And then also, while you're at it, why not strike a few more YouTubers who make videos on your games? You guys love to make people smile. The company just got a fine. They didn't, like, lock up and throw in the slammer every single person there. Meanwhile, Gary Bowser, he got the book thrown at him. He got the wood. It must have been something personal because his last name is literally Bowser. I have no doubt Gary Bowser got into hacking the Switch specifically because his last name's Bowser, so he's like, fuck it, I'll do it. Might as well. I'll fulfill my namesake. 100%. Successfully argued that Bowser and Team Executor had caused Nintendo to suffer $65 million in losses due to console hacking software and devices used to play pirated Nintendo Switch games. I don't recall that. 65 million from the console hacking software? I gotta be honest with you, Chief, that seems like a bunch of baloney. I don't know why the number 300K keeps popping into my head. Maybe that's what Gary Bowser personally stood to gain, or personally gained from all of this. Or maybe I'm just way off the mark, but I really thought, or I vividly remember, like a report saying he had made like 300K from it all. But who knows? That could be wrong. So, okay, so that is what he made for himself. He himself made 300K. I saw someone on Twitter say that they would honestly fake their own death in this case. Dude needs a new dust filter for his Hoover Max Extract Pressure Pro Model 60. Fucking true. He's gonna need a Hoover Max ASAP. Does he even have a job? Well, he's just now getting out of prison. after spending 40 months there. And he had a job in prison where he paid off $75 of his debt. So I would wager a guess he doesn't currently have a job. He's probably still hunting for one. You saw Nintendo is suing a streamer for streaming a pirated Switch game? I meant to look into that. Thank you for reminding me. I wanted to check that out. That is a bold, bold move. To be streaming a pirated Switch game, knowing how litigious and vengeful Nintendo is. Let me see, who was it? Nintendo suing a streamer of pirated software for millions of dollars. The defendant has been streaming gameplays before the titles were even released. Ooh! How stupid are you? Oh my god. Every game guru who it's accusing of streaming gameplays of pirated games before they were even released and providing viewers access to illegal ROMs and piracy tools. His goose is cooked if that's true. Let me see. What has he said about it? Wait, this is interesting. I thought it was just like he was streaming, you know, Super Mario 64 on an emulator. He pirated the game and he streamed it. How dare he? Rah, rah, rah. Oh, Nintendo big bad bully on the block gonna fucking spit in your butt. But no, it seems like this guy really did it to himself, if that's true. His YouTube channel is gone. He does have a Twitter. Nope, his Twitter is gone. Oh, they vaporized him already. They de-atomized him like Dr. Manhattan. No, his Twitter's still up. He scrubbed it, though. There's only 4 posts left. He streamed 10 different games before release. Poking the bear like that is nuts. Messing around with Nintendo and pirating their games is like fucking with the cartel. I don't know why he didn't think he was going to get skinned alive. In its lawsuit, the company said the defendant live streams himself playing games on YouTube, Discord, Twitch, TikTok, Trovo. What the fuck is Trovo? Kick Vaughn? D-Live? What year is it? What kind of place is this, huh? Picarto, Nemo, and Loco. I feel like he made up like 4 of these. That's like his own personal websites. Interesting. Very, very interesting. He was definitely putting himself out there, trying to stand out in the crowd, often with very little commentary. Okay. Apparently, every game guru streamed gameplays of at least 10 different titles before their official release date in at least 50 occasions since 2012. Oh, man. He had so many opportunities to just stop. And he just couldn't do it. The 15 combined viewers across 45 platforms was just too enticing for him. The clout. The audience needed him. The bat signal was up for every game guru. Picarto is a not suitable for work art streaming site. He was just posting this to everywhere that had live streaming capabilities. He was probably trying to like blast this into like university exclusive websites. I'm surprised Vimeo's not on here. Every game guru allegedly streamed Mario & Luigi Brothers Ship on October 22nd, 23rd, 24th, 25th, and 29th, way before its official release on the 7th. After Nintendo got the videos taken down from various platforms, including YouTube, he continued live streaming on Loco and even included a QR code for his Cash App handle. How stupid is this guy? This might actually be one of the dumbest men I've ever seen. I'm exaggerating. There's definitely stupider men in the world. But wow, you have to be actually turbo moron. You have got to be boofing idiot juice twice a day in order to actually think this is going to work out for you. Like, not only was he doing something highly illegal to one of the few companies in the world that will go out of their way to fuck anyone in the face no matter how small, he was including every possible means to track him. He gave a QR code for his Cash App on stream. Oh my god. His life is over. He would create new accounts after his old ones get disabled. Nintendo said he sent the company an email telling it that it has 1,000 burner channels and that he can do this all day. Man thought he was the Zodiac Killer, but against Nintendo. We found a user with the same name on Loco with streams of Super Mario Jamboree before it officially became available on the 17th. In addition to those 2 games, Nintendo listed the other games that the defendant played on video before release, including Echoes of Wisdom, Paper Mario Thousand Year Door, Mario vs. Donkey Kong, Super Mario RPG, Mario Bros. Wonder, Pikmin 4, Splatoon 3, Mario Strikers. Nintendo has also included screenshots of every game guru linking people to piracy tools in its lawsuit. I wonder how many people watch these. He had 59 followers on Twitter, so it's not exactly like he's, Kai Cenat out here breaking records with viewership. Man was risking life and limb for what? A couple tiddlywinks of clout? One screenshot showed a post where he wrote a step-by-step guide on how to play illegally downloaded ROMs, included links to Ryujinx, Yuzu, Suyu, and Sadachi Nintendo Switch emulators, links to websites that distribute game ROMs, and a link to a website where people can get Switch decryption keys necessary to be able to play the console's games. Capitalism is cancer, he wrote in the post in all caps. My channel is being deleted for sharing gameplay videos. This is your reward. Brother, like, you're just doing something blatantly illegal. It actually has nothing to do with capitalism. Like, he's trying so hard to, like, co-opt something to make it sound, like, justifiable, like he's fucking V for Vendetta out here. What an idiot. What an actual idiot. Company is asking for $150,000 in damages per violation of its copyright. As 404 Media notes, that could add up to millions, seeing as Nintendo is accusing the defendant of streaming at least 10 games illegally in at least 50 occasions. This is going to be the next Gary Bowser. Every games guru is going to be in Nintendo's servitude for the rest of his life, paying dividends forever. Half of his paycheck every month from this day forth, well, once the lawsuit's finalized, will go directly to Nintendo's bank account. That was his name, right? Gary Bowser? The previous guy that Nintendo butt-fucked? I'm pretty sure it was. Yeah, it was. Okay, I thought so. For those that don't remember, Gary Bowser was a guy that got into some hot water with some modification tools. When it comes to Nintendo property, they weren't super happy about it. He was making a lot of money off of it. They eventually sued him. They threw him in jail. And now, for the rest of his life, basically, he will be paying them back. Also, I might be misremembering Gary Bowser. It might be Doug Bowser. It's either Doug or Gary Bowser. I can't remember which one's the CEO of Nintendo in America. Nope, Gary Bowser. I had it right the first time. Hack seller Gary Bowser says Nintendo can take 25% of his monthly income. Basically forever, because he owes so much money to them. And he's already 53 years old. So every game's guru, you and Gary Bowser about to be best boys. Can he even pay half that in his entire lifetime? Nope, it's not even about that. It's just about sending a message. And now they're doing the same to every game guru. This guy is, like, exceptionally stupid, though. Like, this is a completely different level of being dumb. If only everyone kept their mouth shut. You know what's crazy? If every single person, all of them that you can count on one hand, kept their mouth shut about every game guru streaming illegal games before they released, he still would have been caught because he sent them a fucking email. This guy couldn't keep his own mouth shut. He sent the company an email itself in order to put himself on their radar. This man just wanted to, like, ruin his life. He said, you know what? I'm a little too happy. I need to fuck that. And he did. World's dumbest crash out. It's gotta be up there. It seems so personal. Like, hating Nintendo, I get it. I'm right there with you. This, you're not even fighting against them. You're just fighting yourself. This is just so nonsensical. And he had so many opportunities to stop. So many. He has some devious plans we don't know about yet. That's true. He could be doing this right now with his hands as his plan comes together. Yes, I wanted to be sued for millions of dollars in damages from Nintendo. It's all coming together. I just checked out Vaughn Live. There's one stream under the gaming category by Poker Otai. It has 0 views. You know, yeah, let me see some of these websites he was using to stream, because I haven't heard of half of these. Let's start with Vaughn. Vaughn.live. Live stream your life. Vaughn Live. Possibly the greatest live. Let's see. How many total viewers does this site have right now? The top stream on Vaughn has 72 people watching, I think. It's got ads out the wazoo, though. God, using this site without an ad block is miserable. There's, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ads just right in your face off a rip. More ads than streamers. This actually does look like a virus. m.nemo.tv is the best social live streaming community for watching live show, game live, or have a free chat. Participate in real-time interaction or video. This one at least has some gaming on it right away. Let's see, the top streamer right now. This one, okay, so this one's more of an international one. So this one seems pretty popular, actually. And then Picarto. Someone already told me what Picarto was, but I'm gonna look it up myself. Apparently it's a not suitable for work art streaming site. Picarto, the world's best create live streaming service. Come watch your favorite artists and creative minds. Don't think I can pull it up on stream. There's not even a gaming category. Not that I can find. Didn't even know DLive was still up. Oh, I forgot to check DLive. How's DLive doing? We actually did a check-in on DLive about a year ago. Your stream, your rules. Are they still using lemons? Still doing lemon party over there or whatever, where like the currency is lemons? It seems like they've got 1 or 2, 4, 6. They have over 10,000 viewers right now on DLive. I don't know how to order it by top streamer. What's DLive? Oh, do you not remember DLive? This was back with the whole Mixer hype when there was streaming competitors, and PewDiePie signed to DLive and made that video about how he's streaming exclusively on DLive. Like, they must have really, like, put a bag on PewDiePie for that. And he went to DLive, nobody followed him, and then PewDiePie was like, yeah, this shit sucks, and left like in a month. DLive was after Mixer? Yeah, I don't remember the timeline. It was just during that era where people were signing deals away from Twitch or going elsewhere besides Twitch. Kaiba deals? Actual Kaiba deal, yeah. I mean, it was smart. Take a bag, semi-retire for a little bit, then come back. That was the Mixer model. And the Facebook Live model. Because the audience was still here. So it's not like people really lost anything by taking, like, the Mixer deals or the Facebook deals. Alright, tough guy, you want to talk about the Switch? We can go there. We can talk about the Nintendo Switch. I know it's got a sequel. I saw the announcement. I also saw the leaks. I buried my nose deep in there and took a big huff. But I won't be speaking on the leaks directly for fear of my life. I feel as though if Nintendo caught wind of me talking about leaks, they would send an ICBM to my house to take me out and then serve my next of kin a lawsuit just out of spite. So we're not really going to be tiptoeing there, but I will at least talk about a couple of the rumors. That's alright, I'm sure. I mean, does a bear shit in the woods, you know what I mean? I'm sure that's probably safe. But yeah, I have been pretty vocal about, not being the biggest fan of Nintendo as a company. I do always like the games they put out. Their first-party titles always slap, but I just don't really like Nintendo themselves. With that bias out of the way, let's talk about the Nintendo Switch. Also, another bias to get out of the way, I've also been vocal about how disappointingly underpowered the Nintendo Switch is. It's got about the same amount of power as my calculator in high school used to have. It's pretty laughable. And while they haven't fully revealed the specs on the Nintendo Switch 2, there are leaks about it, which you won't find me speaking on. I'm treating that like Voldemort. But there are rumors that it will be about as powerful as a PS4 Pro, which I think is pretty fucking good. I've said for a long time, I don't think graphics are the most important thing when it comes to games, so as long as they can just get a consistent 60 FPS, I'm happy with that. And as long as they have a hard drive that can store more than like 2 JPEGs on it, I'm happy there too. Because the base Nintendo Switch, I could only ever install 3 games at any one time. It was just this frustrating headache of playing musical chairs, just perpetually juggling these games around just to make space. And I know I could have bought like an external hard drive for more space, but I shouldn't need to buy an accessory just to store more than 3 fucking titles. Anyway though, while the specs haven't been revealed, the design has, so it's very similar to the original Switch. I'm not going to play any bit of the video because I feel Nintendo might strike the video if I played even a single fucking frame of this thing moving. I just don't take any chances when it comes to this company anymore. But this is what it looks like. And I know some people, at least based on chat's reaction to it, are pretty disappointed that it's not like a complete reinvention of a Switch. It's just a bigger version of it, which I personally don't think is a problem at all if you just set the Switch to Wumbo. I think that's fine because as far as handheld devices go, they kind of nailed that. Like even the Steam Deck follows a very similar design. Like they did get it right with the Wii U's design for handheld gaming, and the Switch went and refined it. It's not really going to keep changing its form all that much, like some kind of grand metamorphosis into a fucking butterfly. I'm pretty satisfied with how it looks, It's a bigger screen, a little more real estate for my man paws to get around, and by that I mean 5'6" meaty paws. Not that impressive. But point is, like, it feels chunkier, which it looks chunkier. So that's good. And as long as the spec leaks are accurate, it's going to be decently powerful. For the first time in a long time, Nintendo will actually have hardware in the 21st century. We did it. We finally made it. We're finally there. I'm honestly kind of surprised because I half expected them to play hardball and double down on this reluctance to enter the modern age. I thought there was a chance that for the Switch 2, they'd release the specs and it'd be like the same 1-to-1 carbon copy formula as like the Ouya or something like that. You know, just severely lacking in the hardware department. But if all of the leaks and rumors are true, it will be very solid, which is great. Now, since this reveal, there have been a lot of Nintendo enthusiasts that have been clowning on me for a tweet I made a while back where I was making fun of Nintendo with pretty low-hanging fruit. I made a tweet saying Nintendo's going to reveal the Nintendo Switch 2 requires a hand crank to power it, which I think is kind of a banger. You know, it's not the most inspired tweet, but it's just one of those on the toilet bowl, might as well poop a little something out onto Twitter type tweets. And I let it rip, and then this got revealed, and they're talking about how poorly aged that was. It's not like I seriously thought they were going to do that, like power it with a hamster and a wheel or anything. I was just making a joke about how out of touch Nintendo is when it comes to tech. Or in general, really. Nintendo is just unbelievably out of touch across the board in every aspect and avenue. But that's neither here nor there. Overall, I'm pretty optimistic with the Switch 2. There were some people in chat saying that the Joy-Con port looks like a possible failure point, where when you like slap it on, if you put it in incorrectly, it looks like it could just snap off. I don't know if I necessarily agree with that. I understand the argument because it does look like it could break off with a little rough housing or if you just put them in wrong, incorrectly. But I think there's just a very good chance that it's built pretty sturdy. Like it looks kind of durable from just that brief glance, but when the Switch 2 arrives, I'll put it through its paces. I'll give it like a fucking ring dinger, like I'm doing a chiropractic adjustment on it. We'll see. We'll see. So yeah, anyway, that's kind of like my thoughts on the Nintendo Switch 2. It looks about how I expected it to, and the specs are a lot better than I expected them to be, but we haven't seen a whole lot from it yet, other than like a little glimpse at the new Mario Kart, which is hype. But yeah, I'm more optimistic about it than I thought I would be. Now, I would like to show you a little something special that we went over on stream. It was already leaked to be Mario Kart 9. Love to hear that. Also, speaking of leaks, did anyone see what Hideki Kamiya had to say about it? His take on leakers is... he's drawn a hard line. I hope that all of the people who leaked Switch 2 information / those who helped leak it will be cursed for the rest of their lives to always have poop on the soles of their shoes when they get home. The shitty leaker only acts for his own pleasure and self-satisfaction. Not only is he not contributing to anyone's benefit, he is incurring all sorts of opportunity losses and has done nothing to be proud of in front of others. He is the worst of scum, so he should be covered in shit from head to toe and thrown out of the atmosphere and then stop thinking and wander forever. These damn leakers are in a position of responsibility where they have access to information that only a very select few know, yet what they do is nothing more than an expression of a filthy desire for approval that lacks a shred of rationality. They are shameful people, so it is not the manufacturers whose secrets have been exposed who should be blamed, but these damn people, and they need to be crushed as soon as possible. If you guys don't know Hideki Kamiya, he has amazing rants. He's also like very notorious for blocking everybody. Literally everybody that ever breathes blocks them. Oh yeah, one of his big things is he will block you off rip if you don't speak Japanese. Yeah. If you don't speak Japanese, you are insta-blocked. I forget, are you blocked by him? Let's see, I imagine I am blocked by him, but I'll double check. I don't go on Twitter, so there's a chance I'm not. I am not blocked. Leakers destroy planned marketing that basically wastes money for everyone involved. That's why we get crappy reveals like this one. Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of arguments for like why people don't like leakers. I get it. I'm just gonna get this out of the way right now. My voice sounds like a chain smoker who swallowed a bag of rocks, and there's not much I can do about it. But there's something I really want to talk about today. Nobody hates Nintendo fans more than Nintendo themselves. Every year, sometimes multiple times a year, Nintendo will lash out and just attack YouTubers who make videos about their games, like the biggest fans. And if they're not attacking YouTubers, they're attacking grassroots tournaments. It's foul. Nintendo has some kind of grudge against people that like their products. They view them as enemies, like terrorists. How dare you enjoy our products this much that you're willing to make content or have tournaments around them? We're putting the kibosh on it. And that's exactly what they've done again to a massive YouTuber named Penguinz0. Oh my god. What the fuck? Nintendo even sent an assassin after me with Io here with that jump scare. Jesus. That was terrifying. It's good to see you though, Io. You heard me talking about Nintendo and just wanted to come in and chime in on how shitty they are? I respect it. Yesterday, Penguinz0 posted this video where he talked about how Nintendo is not only taking down a ton of his content, mainly Breath of the Wild, but also striking his channel for it. For those that don't know, there's a couple different levels of severity here, a couple different DEFCONs you can go through on YouTube, where one of them is a video gets claimed by someone, which means they then take all of the AdSense. Another level is they block it and take it down, but you don't get a strike, you just no longer have the video up. And then the third most extreme level, this is when the air raid sirens are sounding, going nuclear, striking a channel, which takes down the video and issues a strike to the channel, which is debilitating. And if you get 3 strikes, you lose your whole channel, it just fucking vanishes. And this is usually supposed to be reserved for the most egregious of offenses, just severe violations of the rules, like you're trying to punish Dirty Dan for getting a little crazy on the platform, then that's when the strikes were supposed to be used. It's because it's basically like capital punishment here on the platform. But Nintendo uses this willy-nilly. They're very loosey-goosey with issuing strikes. This is their first strategy. They don't reach out or try to play nice. They immediately just start rolling around in the pig pen and spitting and shitting on anyone who's covered their content, it seems. They throw out more strikes than a professional bowler, and that's exactly what they've done to Penguinz0. They've issued 2 strikes on his channel. I'm going to play portions of his video here where he talks about it more in detail, but it's so fucked up. Nintendo is such a scummy company. I cover all of their L's because I love their products, but I hate their company. I think they're still learning what an email is. They don't know what video content even means. The internet is this mysterious boogeyman to them. They don't fucking get it. They're out of touch. They're delusional, and it shows. They do this so often, and they've done this for as long as the internet's been around. Even back during the dial-up era, I'm pretty sure Nintendo would have tried to lobby against the internet's creation in the first place. They view it as an evil tool used by the devil because it showcases their games. It makes me fucking angry, and they've done it once again.
Listen to what I have to say and consider reversing the decision to claim these videos. I make videos playing games, sometimes in strange ways. But for today, it's important for you to know that on occasion, I modify the games I play and explore what happens when the game mechanics are a little different. I have never encouraged piracy of Nintendo's games. The mods that I've commissioned are not being sold, and all of the code is custom, meaning that they are free of Nintendo assets.
Penguinz0 explains that the purpose of the video is to hopefully get Nintendo's attention to the issue and reverse their decision. Something Nintendo's never done in the entire fucking company's history, I'm pretty sure. I don't think they've ever listened to anyone ever, not even like their own kids. Like, there is no one Nintendo listens to, and I don't think they've ever walked back a decision ever. If they even loosely heard from the community, Nintendo Online wouldn't be such an embarrassing pile of dog shit that you have to pay for, which is still just an absolute war crime to even be charging for how bad that service is. But anyway, I'd love to be wrong here and someone at Nintendo actually has internet access and watches this video and has a heart like, oh wow, yeah, maybe this was overkill. But I just don't see that happening, though I would, again, love to be pleasantly surprised. Penguinz0 lays out that he makes videos and does a lot of content on Nintendo games, and in some of that content he mods them. He modifies the games to be goofier, and the content is fire. So he needed to explain that when he modifies the games, he's not encouraging piracy, he's not stealing anything from Nintendo, it's all custom, and it is in line with their own content policy that they themselves published.
On April 6th, 1 week ago, Nintendo decided to block all 4 videos that I put up on YouTube playing the multiplayer mod. I appealed their decision, as I'm very much in line with their content guideline policies. We'll go over that in a moment. Nintendo then escalated and issued a copyright strike against my YouTube channel. Not once, but twice. Rather than bundle the videos all into one copyright strike, Nintendo issued a copyright strike for one video and then bundled the other three into another strike.
That's deliberately evil. That's malicious. They could have bundled them all together for one strike, which would have still been an absolute load of fucking horseradish, but they decided to go even a step further to the dark side and divide them in order to issue multiple strikes. That's so fucked up, but a very classic Nintendo move. Just another huge L from this company.
Deliberately putting my channel in danger, but not taking it down completely. I was able to get an email address for Nintendo and sent a message asking that we discuss what's going on and try to reach an amicable resolution that would make both parties happy. I heard nothing back so far. Here's that email if you would like to read it.
Like I said, I'm pretty sure Nintendo has cobwebs on their email address. I don't think they know how to log in. Maybe they forgot the password. Maybe they just forgot it existed. Point Crow does have a legal team giving him advice here, and I think he's handling it in all of the right ways, but Nintendo is just completely unresponsive to anything from anybody. Like, you could actually have fucking Joe Biden send them some kind of presidential message or whatever, and if it doesn't get there by carrier pigeon, they're not getting it regardless. Again, I've said this before, but you would have better luck reaching Nintendo if you wrote your message on a rock and threw it outside of your window right now. They'd stand a better chance of seeing that than anything else, like a fucking email or anything. They truly just don't give a shit.
So the next day, Nintendo claimed 24 more of my videos from my channels. Most of them are modded content. A lot of them are Breath of the Wild. But not all of them are. This is key. They also claimed videos containing footage from Super Mario Odyssey, the Pokemon series, and Wii Sports Resort from my channel. The most surprising one, though, was a claim from one of my first videos back in 2019, marrying Sidon and a bookshelf to create Hyrule's first car. It's just a regular, vanilla gameplay video of Breath of the Wild.
The belief I and many others had going into this video, seeing what he posted on Twitter, was that the reason they're striking these videos and taking down this Breath of the Wild content is because their upcoming game, Tears of the Kingdom, is right around the corner, and for some reason now they're going around fucking feeding knuckle sandwiches to anyone who's made Breath of the Wild videos, I guess, and they've always had a real thorn in their side about modding. That's just a rock in their shoe that makes them very upset that people mod their games in order to have more fun with them. They don't recognize that the people modding those games are literally their biggest fans and making a ton of content around it, which only helps spread the game further in a positive way. Point Crow's mods weren't malicious, he wasn't selling them or anything like that, and as you can see from what he just showed, it's not like they were only claiming modded videos. That video from 2019 is just vanilla gameplay. It's not fucking modded out the wazoo or anything. They just very much viewed him as some kind of like bad guy and started blasting him as hard as they could. They fucking claimed the vanilla gameplay video of Breath of the Wild. That is so far into degeneracy. It's nuts. And the cat's out of the bag here, it's clearly not Tears of the Kingdom motivated because they also hit other videos from him that were on completely different games.
These takedowns aren't exclusive to my channel either. Over the course of the next couple days, Nintendo is taking down videos from other channels as well. Croton, another very prominent YouTuber, has had at least 10 live streams and 2 videos removed. Importantly, one of those videos is simply a challenge video, detailing how the game would be played if the player decided to explore Zelda, with certain restrictions the player has imposed on themselves. These takedowns may have started with modded content, but they have spiraled into something else entirely.
Yeah, they've spiraled into lunacy here. They're not just targeting modded content, though I don't think there's any real justification for what they've done, even if it was only modded content. Modded content isn't some affront to God for these companies. It is players modding your game and making content around it, and just enjoying it even further. Now, maybe there are some mods that are bad news, but I promise you it's not the ones you're striking down from these YouTubers. It's just further wiping their own ass with their already awful reputation and staining it even further. But again, they don't care. Purchasing a Nintendo game honestly feels fucking horrible, because you're buying something from a company that doesn't respect you and actually just fucking straight up hates you. It's like buying clothes from your high school bully. Like, damn, the clothes are fire, but god damn it, the person behind it hates me and literally spits on me every chance they get. Like, it just sucks. Like, Nintendo makes such bangers, but the company is just actual trash.
So now you know what's happening. At this time, my channel has had 29 videos taken down, 2 copyright strikes, and Nintendo does not seem to be stopping the removal of videos from other creators on YouTube. They've shown that they're striking down regular gameplay videos as well. It's sporadic, and their enforcement of their copyright is incredibly uneven. The thing is, without even considering fair use, all of these videos are very clearly in line with Nintendo's own game content guidelines for online video and image sharing platforms.
Nintendo is going insano style right now, absolutely purging YouTube of all types of different content out of nowhere. Like, all of it's pretty nonsensical. It's not just modded content, it's actual just normal gameplay videos, like playing Breath of the Wild with like a challenge run and shit like that. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if they start taking down speed runs or even just general walkthroughs. Like, it's absolute madness. It's chaos. And there's just no way of defending this behavior from Nintendo. Point Crow explains that all of this content fits within their own content policy, as well as, of course, being fair use. They state that they encourage creative input and commentary for content around their video games, as well as like Let's Plays, video game reviews, which it doesn't really seem like they are saying that with a smile on their face, considering they're now just taking down all of these videos that have creative input and commentary. The things that they highlight that they don't allow are the obvious things, right? Where it's just like, you know, full Nintendo trailers or all of their soundtrack and shit like that. Things that other companies also don't encourage either.
You might argue that modded content is in violation of these guidelines, but historically that's not the case. The terms of service for The Legend of Zelda says you cannot modify the game, but it also says that you cannot stream it, you cannot make videos of it, and you cannot otherwise broadcast it. Nintendo's game content guidelines changes this, though, by providing a license on top of the existing terms of service, which modifies the terms of service for content creators. All of the videos that they have taken down are in compliance with their own policies.
A lot of games in their terms of service actually have similar statements, such as like no making videos or streaming the game or anything like that. But like Point Crow mentions, there's extenuating circumstances. There's like an overarching branch of it where they do modify that for the content creators and content that is made around their products. Because obviously in this day and age, any game is going to be like streamed or have videos about it. So a lot of companies encourage it, and Nintendo claims they also encourage it. They even talk about like how touched they are when people make Nintendo focused videos, which is the biggest fucking lie ever told. Like, my god, what a fucking fib. No shot. Every video made on a Nintendo game makes them angry. I feel like they view that as lost dollars, potentially. Like, oh no, a potential customer may have seen this video and now they're never going to bother getting the game because they got the whole experience from watching this one guy play Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild by killing all of the trash mobs. No, we lost somebody. They've ruined us. Take them down. It's just something that has existed for a long time, right? No streaming the game, no making videos on it, but that's just not the way it's worked historically on the internet for a long time now. And Nintendo has understood that up until recently, where I guess they got hit by a fucking stupid beam and are now taking down videos again. Completely innocent ones.
In fact, what they've demonstrated here is that they will ignore their own policies and licenses to selectively enforce their intellectual property. So, if you've uploaded any video that features any Nintendo content, no matter how transformative or directly in line with their published guidelines, you are at risk. You mentioned in your content guidelines that you are humbled every day by the loyalty and passion for Nintendo's games, characters, and world, and respect that we want to be able to express ourselves creatively by sharing our own videos and images using content from your game. And if you truly respect us and are humbled by this community, don't take this creativity away from us.
Overall, I think it's an extremely strong video from Point Crow here, which once again highlights Nintendo's out-of-touch delusion, and it serves as a great open letter to the company that I have no doubt will go completely radio silent on. I don't think they're going to see it. I don't think they're going to care. They're going to most likely continue to take down completely innocent videos and maybe even whole channels that have covered Nintendo products or made Nintendo-focused content, all because they're just fucking evil. Like, I really don't know what it is anymore. This does nothing to help them. This just puts another blemish on their reputation. This doesn't get people excited for Tears of the Kingdom. This just makes more and more people afraid of Nintendo. And for a company that's supposed to be like all about family fun, I don't know why they want to be feared so badly, ruling their property with an iron fist and allowing no room for creativity or imagination in their worlds from the people that love them the most, like Point Crow mentions. It's just shit. It's just an actual pile of dog shit. And I wanted to talk about that. I'm wishing Point Crow the absolute best here, navigating these 2 strikes on his channel, because Nintendo is a fearsome foe. So I really am hoping for the best for him. He's a great guy, and Nintendo is anything but a great company. They're trash. That's really about it. See ya.